Amazing. And so talk about the growth in technology that you guys also kind of like that this is around the same time that like the amount of 3D printers and materials is growing as well. So you're kind of in this like sweet spot where like all this new
Mhm.
technology is coming in. You've got this amazing application. Um,
Mhm.
what was that like?
Yeah, it felt like a full-time job in and of itself to keep up with the advances in technology. And by attending shows like Rapid plus TCT or AMUG, you're able to kind of keep your finger on the pulse of what's going on. We started in the anatomic modeling unit with a single printer, and you would think you would start with something small and reasonable and easy to repair, but that was not the game plan. I think it was a grander vision. So we started with an Object 350 Connex 2, and that had the ability to print in black and white and about 8 shades of gray as digital materials. It's a material extrusion or a material, what am I saying? Uh, well, it's the polyjet.
Material jetting, right?
Material, thank you. Material jetting printer. And polyjet was the term given to it by Stratasys. They had purchased the object company sometime before, and the material jetting technology is not for the faint of heart. You really have to dive into the repairs and the maintenance. The daily maintenance that we performed on that machine was incredible. I mean, we were taking heads off of rollers, we were sanding down lamp covers and things like that. And it was a full-time job to keep that printer running. And we did run it almost every single day to make 3D printed models. We ended up hiring Scott Christian, who is an incredible healthcare technology management technician, to come in and help with the maintenance. And before that, we had Dave Larson joining us, and he was a member of radiology for 30 plus years and kind of a jack of all trades. But what I'm getting at is, as the person who was responsible for sitting with the physicians and designing what is to be printed, I didn't necessarily have the time to devote to the maintenance. And that is something that you start to learn, and you can learn the hard way, especially in the corporate world. Capital equipment is so much easier to source and to get approved than people. And so we struggled, with limited personnel. That was our backlog in the very beginning. Once we had Scott on site and we really got a good rhythm with the material jetting printer, then we wanted to start printing in something that could be sterilized, something that had the capability to be biocompatible. And so we chose the Formlab system, and we started printing with dental SG. So they had a material that was meant for the dental world that we adapted into the medical world. And the reason we chose the Formlabs was because they had the material, and the machines were much, much smaller than the material jetting machines that we had. So the vat photopolymerization technology was a brand new technology to all of us there. And we went through all sorts of training online. We flew out to Boston and did training with Formlabs. And yeah, that was our second purchase. The third purchase was a binder jetting printer from 3D Systems, the 660 Pro. And that was so fun to use because it was the first time that we could print in a photorealistic manner. So we had an Artex Space Spider 3D scanner that we would bring down to frozen section when they were taking a look at the tumor margins for things that had been resected. So for example, they would take a tumor out of the jaw, they would bring it into frozen section to test the margins, but before they cut into it, we would surface scan the tumor. And we had a little cart that we would bring down into frozen section, surface scan it really quick, as quickly as possible, and then we would bring the whole cart back up to the lab and have the images stitched together by the software, which was, it was kind of a 50-50 chance that we got all of the images. I don't know if the folks are familiar with 3D scanning, but it's not always clear if you've done a good job until after the processing. But we got pretty good at it. And then we could 3D print these tumors on the Projet 660 in a photorealistic way, which was really, really cool. After that, we got a couple of material extrusion printers. I think we started with the S2 or S3 from Ultimaker. So that we could have our students use that for their student projects and prototyping.
Do you have a memorable project that's okay to share?
Oh my goodness. All of the students, they're so close to my heart. I really enjoyed working with all of them so much. One project that I'll name is one that was done by Amika Kamath, and it was with the help of her father, who is a hepatologist, Dr. Patrick Kamath. And what they did was they segmented the liver, and the liver is a very large organ, but it separates into 8 lobes. And so they placed almost datum planes where each of the lobes separated and then labeled them. And then we 3D printed almost like a matrix of the liver with each of the lobes labeled. And that's just one of hundreds of projects. But I thought that was really neat because it showed the education capabilities, and not just for, patient education, but for professional education in the medical field as well.
Be sure to check out our website, www.3degreescompany.com, for more content.